and I just haven't. Everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tara East. I'm a writer, blogger, YouTuber, and the author of the mystery novel, Every Time He Dies. And in this week's video, I actually want to give a little bit of an update on a blog and video that I posted recently, which was all about why writers maybe shouldn't work from home. So please forgive me if this video is a little self-indulgent, but I'm pretty sure you're going to learn something from it anyway. So my basic argument in that blog and video, which I'll link up in the cards, is that while writers have often worked from home, perhaps this is not in fact the most supportive environment for us. And in that post, I shared how we think that it doesn't matter, that we go to the bathroom or that we go into the kitchen to have a cup of tea, and that we see these domestic tasks that need to be done. The truth is, it breaks our concentration. So for the last 3 years, I've had a dedicated workspace where I could go. But then when COVID happened, I changed our house around so that I could have a home office, obviously, like most people did. But now the lockdown is lifted and I can go back to my space, and I have been able to go back to my space for like the last 6 months. And I just haven't, because it was really inconvenient. It felt like a giant pain in the butt to pack up my laptop and to pack up my notes and put everything in a backpack and figure out something for lunch and to get myself in there. It just felt like a really big hassle compared to working from a home office. And then I started doing all of this research about the cognitive changes that happen when you work from home. And there's a reason why there were so many blogs around when the pandemic hit, giving advice on how to stay focused and how to get your work done while being at home. However, after filming that blog, I really convinced myself that I actually really need to get back into that workspace and to really pay attention to whether or not my writing improved or whether or not I found it easier to get my work done. So I've been back there for about 2 weeks now, and I've been going in 3 days a week specifically to focus on my teaching related work. And unsurprisingly, it's been really, really good. So one of the things I noticed is that while it took longer for me to get ready and to get out the door, so rather than starting my day at 9 a.m., which is usually when I start working at home, I was often not starting work until about 10 because it just seemed to take me a little bit longer to get my stuff ready and then to drive into my workspace. However, once I got there, it actually was easier to do my work. Now we know this. We know that it pulls on our attention and our energy to be at home and to see everything that needs to get done. But I didn't realize how much energy I was spending on either doing stuff that does need to be done, but maybe doesn't need to be done right now, or stopping myself from going and doing something. For instance, say I'm working on a chapter and I know I really need to vacuum, or the plants need watering, or I really need to go to the shops and get some more washing detergent, whatever. So I know that these things need to be done, and they have to be done by somebody, and they have to be done sometime, and I have to actively keep myself in the chair. Because my inner procrastinator, who loves to procrastinate by doing domestic stuff, is just pulling at me like, come on, this needs to get done. But when I go into my workspace, that's all eliminated because it doesn't exist. Yes, out of sight, out of mind, but it's more than that. It's because it's not even a possibility. I can't just get up and go and put on a load of laundry or water the plants or whatever. So it's actually amazing how it has lightened my mental load. A few years ago, everyone was talking about mental bandwidth, and it is like that. When you're at home, you are consciously aware of the space that you are in and all of the work that it takes to maintain that space, while at the same time trying to do all of your regular work. The other thing I've noticed by going into my workspace is that my lunchtime has greatly reduced. And part of this is because I have to prep the meal before I go. So instead of my lunch breaks being like an hour or sometimes an hour and a half, because I've already stopped, so I convince myself to do some job around the house, because I am no longer doing that and I've gone into my workspace, my breaks are like 10 or 15 minutes because there's nothing to do when I'm at my office. I don't have any friends in that space, so there's no one I would go and talk to or anything like that. So instead, I just have my lunch and maybe I read a little bit of something that I've printed out off the internet, and then I kind of get back to work. Now, don't get me wrong, we need to have breaks in order to keep ourselves fresh. Something I have noticed about going into my workspace is because there's no other tasks to break up the day, I have found that if I go in at like 10 a.m., I am pretty mentally fatigued by 3 or 4, particularly the hours from 3 to 4. I'm like really white knuckling it, but it's because I haven't had any of those sort of cognitive breaks. One of the things I do is go for a walk around the office space, up and down the stairwells, out into the gardens and things like that. But my focus is still in that space. It hasn't been dragged away the way it would if I was in a domestic space. And the other thing I have to say is that obviously because I'm away from home, I'm not getting interrupted by other people. Now I've got pretty good boundaries around this stuff. Like if my door is closed, don't knock on it. But still, sometimes my partner will come and knock on it because he has a question about an assignment that he's writing, or maybe something's happened with his study and he needs a little bit of advice or something like that. Or maybe he just wants a break, so he's come and knocked on my door. But obviously when I go into my office space, this isn't a problem. There are other people in that space working as well, but whenever we have interactions, it's very short and clipped because they're busy too, and they are there because they want to get some work done. So I think that's been really helpful. Something that I pulled up in that blog and video that I posted a few weeks ago is that you don't even realize when you're walking around your house how these little tasks pull your attention away, and then you either have to decide whether you're going to engage with that task or continue on with your work. Now, one of the biggest reliefs of being in my office space is that I don't have this external stimuli, these little pulls of responsibility happening around me. And that's actually been a tremendous relief. It has been easier to get my stuff done because there's less that I need to think about, and I can fully just concentrate on the work that I've arrived there that day to do. And to be honest, I probably get stuff done quicker. Like I said, I show up an hour later than I normally work when I'm staying at home, and I often finish earlier as well. So, the whole point of this update is if you have been thinking about whether or not you would like to experiment working outside of the house, then I hope this update really inspires you to give that a crack. Now, you might not have a dedicated space outside of the home where you can work. I know I'm really fortunate that I do. If you don't, then maybe experiment with libraries or cafes. I know that these spaces absolutely come with their own inconveniences, but I'm sure you're intelligent enough to work around them if you want to. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Did you enjoy this update? Can you relate to any of the things that I've said? If so, please leave a comment below and let me know, because I'd love to hear. Now, if you'd like even more writing advice, of course, you can check out the other videos on this channel, or you can visit taraeast.com and dive into the archives. While you're there, please consider joining my email newsletter. When you do, I'll send you a free gift, woohoo! And I'll also send you a newsletter into your inbox every single Thursday morning, including links to that week's blog and vlog, a little note by me, an inspiring quote, and some resources that I've enjoyed and I think you will too. Plus, there's some information that I only include via email. Thank you so much for being here again and for giving me your time. I really appreciate it. Stay safe, stay calm, and keep writing, because the world actually does need more books.